for the mid 80s, people were like, whoa, you know,
for the mid 80s, this is like Train Coming at the Screen Part 2.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you're allowed to do that.
What do you know about 2 certified bangers? PhantasmaCast.
Welcome back to PhantasmaCast, where we talk about movies we like, and you should too. I'm guy number 1, but you can call me Derek.
I'm guy number 2, a.k.a. Jake.
And today's double feature is 1985's After Hours and 2017's Good Time, both about a guy having the worst night of his life. And just as like a little housekeeping at the top of the show, the best way to stay up to date with us is by subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and or YouTube or our socials on TikTok or Instagram. That would be at 2 Certified Bangers, or you could just search PhantasmaCast, all one word. So let's get on with the show. That is to say, actually, let me poison your brain with a little gamer news, because I am a gamer. Yeah, sorry, Mom and Dad, and I'm a gamer. But you know that it's not a secret. But I don't know if you've been keeping up with like game news recently, but like it's been big. Like the past couple months or so, like there's been tons of rumors swirling around about like the GTA 6 release date. And then GTA 6 news dropped, and they were like, "Hey, we're pushing. Listen, guys. I know you've been talking, but we're gonna push it out a whole year." So they actually dropped a release date, which is like the end of May, of next year. And everyone's like, "Oh,
isn't this? This is after they had dropped that trailer that was full of like supposedly in-game footage too, though, right?"
No, that was the hey, sorry for delaying it. Yeah. Here's a trailer. Too.
Okay.
So it was like a little like, here's
something.
It's bad news.
Yeah.
Here's a little treat. And I love that treat. That was a good treat. Because it had Stephen Root in it. Stephen Root is a character in GTA 6.
Like the man Stephen Root?
The man.
Or
the myth, the legend.
He plays a character.
No. He plays a character.
Okay,
yeah, he's
gotcha.
just like talking to like one of the protagonists in it. He's like, "Hey, Jason, you're up there fixing the roof." I'm like, "That's Stephen fucking Root." Day one, take my money. But yeah, it looks fucking phenomenal. I can't wait to play that. So I immediately was like, okay, downloaded GTA 5 again to try yet again to complete it, because I have still not beaten it. It's so much game that I'm not going to bother myself with all of the like distractions. Just going to mainline it. Pretty much.
That's my problem, I think, with Rockstar games in general, is they're just so big. I've started Red Dead Redemption 2 3 times.
Yeah, me too.
And then every time I get to the camp after that like prologue, where it's like, all right, here's the world. I'm like, actually, the weight of this is a little too much.
You're like, I've got a dentist appointment. See ya.
Yes.
But my whole gaming story is that like the Switch 2 is coming out. I'm personally excited about that because I was not on the Switch train like until way later, and I was like, actually, this is kind of neat. I actually love Nintendo. Like, not like a super diehard about it. Like, I'm not gonna like die on any weird hills about like their weird lawsuits and how kind of anti-consumer they are. But like, I like Donkey Kong. I like me a Mario. You know?
I was going to say, you're not going to start collecting Pokemon cards.
No, why would I do that? I'll see you after class. But that's kind of like where I'm at. Where are you at? Where are you at right now?
Speaking of dentist appointments, I have started physical therapy.
Okay.
I have a terrible back. And
I'm getting there.
It gets sometimes to the point where like I have to like lay in bed for a straight week because like movement of any kind just like is excruciating.
Yeah.
So
and there's only so much like that kind of like sharper image like massage gun that we've got.
Oh,
we
yeah.
both got. We're like, that's the business there.
That is just candy because I learned from my physical therapist. I don't know if you knew this, Derek, but the only way to fix your back is to work out. Apparently,
No, fuck that. I've got GTA 6 to play. I won't have time.
But I went, and she, like, my physical therapist, she's cool. And so, like, she's asking me questions about my back, and then she's like, okay, lay down. And then she starts giving me like a back massage. And I was like, physical therapy is great.
Oh, this is the shit. Yeah.
And then like it's over, and then she starts asking me more questions, and she starts like scheduling me out for my next appointment. And I was like, this is it? She's like, oh no, there's more. I had to do stretches and shit, but
You're like, physical therapy gets a bad rap. I don't know if you've heard what they've been saying about you, but like, I'm kind of on board with it. Well, okay, well, now you got to do push-ups next time. Lose my number.
but there is a funny thing because so like I'm very self-conscious about like whenever I talk to people who are obviously fit and they have like a workout regimen.
Yeah.
And then they
Great,
ask
you
me,
figured it out. Fucking prick.
Yeah, good for you.
Good for you.
But they ask me like what my hobbies are. And I panic because I'm like, it all involves sitting down and not doing shit.
That's like, yeah, me being like, oh, I like video games. They'll be like, we know.
We can tell. That's why you're in physical therapy, asshole. But she was like, so what do you do for fun? And I was like, silent for a good 10 seconds.
It's that I don't think you're as much of a SpongeBob guy as me, but your mind is the SpongeBob where he's like running around and going to all the filing cabinets like, what's his name? What's his name? But you're like, something other than sitting down. You're like, relaxing is cool. No, that's sitting down. I like to chill. No, fuck that.
I was like, can I just say hiking?
Would you believe that?
She wouldn't. She would just say, oh, that's cool. And then move on. So that's where I'm at.
You almost have to like lie to be like, I'm a novelist.
I did say, I like reading because that seemed like the least lame like version. And I was like, and I have a podcast that I do.
Boom, always marketing. We're infected by like the theme of today's episode, which is just going off the rails, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, before you launch into After Hours, I will acknowledge that we're not the first people to think of this pairing. Like I found a tweet from a user called Paranoid Spark that says, was kind of thinking about how Scorsese's After Hours and Good Time kind of reminded me of each other. And she posts like the two posters side by side, because you can see like that like a woman's hand is coming in and like using his head
like
for After Hours to twist the knob of a timepiece. And then for Good Time, she's coming in to take the cap of a Sprite bottle off, and Robert Pattinson is coming out of the Sprite bottle. And yeah, they both have like red
or she's putting the cap
polish
on him. That's how I'm reading it.
Oh yeah, it could be.
What a Freudian slip.
Yeah. So like we definitely didn't like steal from that. We were just kind of like guys having a bad night, and just that.
I just think like it's like these two movies are such a natural pairing. And I was not aware of the existence of After Hours until I saw Criterion had released their 4K of it. And I was like, this cover looks really cool. Who's in it? Griffin Dunn of American Werewolf in London fame. And Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
And literally Catherine O'Hara.
Yes.
Is that who you're ending?
I was trying to lead you into director of practical magic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're welcome, Brittany.
Yes. So, Brittany, this is a fact I have avoided telling you. But when you listen to this podcast, the guy who stars in After Hours directed Practical Magic.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's all true. ASMR. It's all true.
So, and then I learned that, it basically takes place over the course of a night. A guy is just kind of like, having the worst night of his life.
He's going through it.
And then I was like, okay, that sounds a lot like Good Time,
Yeah.
And so like, they're basically the same, setup, a very different set of circumstances and characters.
Totally.
But what a great kind of jumping off point for a movie,
Yeah. Works for me. These are definitely like dudes rock movies, the way we defined it last episode, of like, it's not about dudes that rock, but it's dudes that are going through some stuff, and then that rocks for them.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy to see that, even though, some of them aren't the greatest guys ever, like specifically Good Time. We'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that for Good Time.
So After Hours, desperate to escape his mind-numbing routine, uptown Manhattan office worker Paul Hackett ventures downtown for a hookup with a mystery woman. So begins the wildest night of his life, as bizarre occurrences involving underground art punks, a distressed waitress, a crazed Mr. Softy truck driver, and a bagel and cream cheese paperweight pile up with anxiety-inducing relentlessness and thwart his attempts to get home. With this Kafka-esque cult classic, Martin Scorsese, abetted by Michael Bauhaus's kinetic cinematography and scene-stealing supporting turns by Linda Fiorentino, Terry Garr, Catherine O'Hara, and John Hurd, directed a darkly comic tale of mistaken identity, turning the desolate night world of 1980s Soho into a bohemian wonderland of surreal menace. What an accurate description for what this movie is.
Yeah, I think that's your best back of the box read yet too.
Oh, thank you. It's the subject matter that gets me there.
Like, I'm just reading the written word. Hey.
It's on the page.
Those triple alliteratives, they were there.
This movie starts, I think, with The Last Temptation of Christ, which is something that you and I saw for the first time together, and we both loved. We were just like, 80s Scorsese was on another fucking level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Scorsese was actually working on The Last Temptation of Christ. And it's kind of a convoluted tale, but essentially the studio he was working with got cold feet. They pulled part of the funding, and then they just couldn't end up making the movie for the budget that they needed to make it.
Because like, why though, right? Because like people had heard about the subject matter vaguely.
Well, I mean, it's a movie about like, what if Jesus didn't do the Jesus thing? Like, what if Jesus didn't sacrifice himself? Like what if he took the other path and leaned into his humanity? And a lot of Catholics didn't like that. So, but then at the same time, the failure, quote unquote, of King of Comedy really put into question Scorsese's ability to draw box office, essentially. So that, combined with the subject matter, it made it not work out. When The Last Temptation of Christ fell apart, Scorsese really kind of went on a soul search and tried to think about like can I still make a movie? And at the beginning of the commentary track, he does talk a lot about how he was making movies over the course of like 100. He talks about film budgets in terms of days, which is true, right? Because the longer you're shooting, the more money you're spending, right? Yeah. So he is like, can I got so used to making a film in like 120 days. Could I go back to making movies in 40 days like I was doing at the beginning of my career? And he's like, and I had just turned 40 and I didn't know if I had the energy to do that anymore. And so Scorsese has that going around. You know, he had moved to Soho at the time and thought that he wanted to be a part of the kind of bohemian crowd. He does say he kind of felt like a little out of place though.
Okay, so he's kind of doing like a midlife crisis kind of thing.
A little bit, yeah. He had to kind of rediscover himself a little bit.
Yeah, that's better than buying like a sports car. He's like, I'm gonna get more entrenched with the arts.
Yeah.
Cool. King.
So at the same time, Griffin Dunne and Amy Robinson were, as they described themselves, two very out of work actors. And they decided to do some producing on the side. So they came across a script called Liars, written by Joseph Minions, and that was his thesis script at Columbia. Okay. And so Liars is the original title for After Hours.
Okay.
And so they sent the script to Scorsese, but, at the time he was making The Last Temptation of Christ. And so he, had to pass on it. And so they shopped the script around to other filmmakers, and they sent it to none other than Tim fucking Burton, because they had seen one of his animated shorts.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, well, this guy's got, an eye. Let's send it to him. And so they were actually working with Tim Burton to make the movie for about a month.
Okay. I could see it working. It'd be different, but I could see it working.
Yeah, but also like what a different trajectory that would have put Burton's career on if he had made the movie, right?
Yeah.
But, Last Temptation fell apart. Marty reached back out, and which kind of put Griffin Dunne in a weird scenario because he's got to be like, well, Tim, we love you, but
Tim, but Marty called back.
It's Scorsese, Tim. And so Tim Burton said, wait, so you sent this to Scorsese first and now he wants it back? Okay, well, I graciously withdraw from the picture because I don't want to stand in the way of anything Martin Scorsese wants to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Excellent, right?
He's like, Marty's back? Dude, let Marty cook.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Give it to him. He knows what he's doing. So he decided ultimately to make the film because he knew that he could make it quickly and cheaply. Primarily because so the movie's set at night in Soho, and you and I are not from New York, so we don't know this, but apparently in the 80s, Soho I think had a reputation of being kind of like an out there kind of neighborhood. And so that's why, throughout the course of the movie, Paul's trying to like get home. And it seems like his place in Uptown Manhattan is so far away, right?
Okay.
Like it's so cut off. He can't get a cab. He can't get the subway. Like he's not gonna
The fares
walk.
have gone up. Did you know about this?
Yeah. So he knew that they could like film in Soho because like the streets are empty essentially at nighttime. And he knew that if he was going to do it on a low budget, he needed to be able to move quickly and efficiently. In the commentary, he says it felt almost like going to film school again, kind of reteaching himself how to make a movie, which is kind of cool. Like someone of Scorsese's stature who had the success he had, who has the eye that he had, got basically beat down to the point where he was like, I need to relearn how to do the one thing that defines who I am.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't say like comfortable, but like got used to a way of working that's like, you know what, that actually isn't feasible in the long run if, I'm going to ask for money to do it.
If I'm going to be able to make the kinds of movies that I want to make, I need to change how I work,
Yeah.
In the system that I'm working in. Scorsese at this point in his life and his career, he kind of feels like, what am I doing? That midlife crisis kind of thing.
Been there.
But then how fortuitous that the script comes along and it's a character that is kind of doing the same thing. It's just he's lost in Soho for a night, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, I like how that kind of lines up. It spoke to him.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, that guy's me.
Yeah. It was a perfect alignment. It was the kind of movie that he wanted to create. It was the kind of movie that he knew would challenge him. And it was a kind of character's journey that he felt kind of mirrored where he was in life, at the time. Another big thing that I think like we can't talk about the movie without mentioning is the cinematographer, Michael Ballhaus. This is the film that kicked off his longtime collaboration with Martin Scorsese. They went on to make The Last Temptation of Christ, which was the movie he made after this.
Cool.
So like this movie was a success. Like this movie got like Best Picture at Cannes the year it was released. So it was noticed and people it was kind of like, Marty's back,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So he was able to make Last Temptation of Christ, worked with Bauhaus on Goodfellas, The Color of Money, The Age of Innocence, Gangs of New York, and The Departed.
Cool. Yeah.
So kicked off a long collaboration between the two.
That's awesome.
And not to mention, Bauhaus did a ton of Madonna music videos.
Cool.
So the continuity is like there. And then just the fact that like Rosanna Arquette and Will Patton are also in After Hours. Such a strange, just like there was something in the water at the time.
Yeah, a little peek behind the curtain for folks because we watched this immediately after we recorded last episode.
Yeah.
And we're like, we did the DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We're like, hold up, like look at that, look at them.
I just love this movie. It's got a very specific tone. It's a very specific kind of comedy with a very simple premise. Griffin Dunn's character, Paul Hackett, just kind of works at a dead-end job and, from the state of his apartment, just kind of like is going through the motions of life.
One of us.
And so, one night he goes down to a coffee shop. He's reading a book. He's reading some Henry Miller, and then Rosanna Arquette notices him, says something about the book. He thinks that they, hit it off.
He's like, this is it.
It's just kind of one of those moments that's just like, this never happens to me. What do I do?
Yeah. I didn't even shave my unibrow. Sorry.
She gives him her phone number, and under the guise of like, my friend's an artist, and she makes these plaster bagel paperweights. If you want one, you should give her a call,
And then he weirdly like gloms onto that specific thing about it. I was told there'd be a bagel and cream cheese paperweight thing.
And so later he gives her a call. He decides, you know what, she lives in Soho. I'm going to take a cab. So he takes this cab, and it's this like really, talking about heightened reality. The cab is going fucking like 80 miles an hour down the streets. And that's actually, Scorsese says that comes from an experience he had because, at night, in the middle of the night, because he was a night owl, if you took a city cab in Soho, the streets are empty. So the cabs are just like zooming, trying to get like to their next fare. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like sped up footage and he's just getting like thrown around in the back seat. For some reason, he decides to put his $20 bill in this like cradle that then just gets sucked out the window.
Yeah.
And then now he doesn't have money to pay his fare. The cab driver kicks him out.
Yeah. Which is another thing borrowed from Desperately Seeking Susan.
And so he gets to Kiki's apartment where Marcy is staying. Again, another thing he pulls from like his life living in Soho is like, there are no elevators in these buildings. They're all walk-ups, right? And so when he rings the doorbell, Kiki, played by Linda Fiorentino, sticks her head out and he's like, "Hey, your friend told me you have these
Told there be a bagel
bagels.
cream cheese paperweight."
And so she throws down her key ring to him because it's like, you're on the 8th story of a walk-up. You're not walking all the way down. to let someone in just to come all the way back up. When you could just throw the keys down, right?
Yeah.
So this is something that Scorsese admits he was obsessed with trying to get right. Is this shot of the keys coming down at him? He said he wanted to capture this sense that like the keys would crush his head if they came down. So like if you go and you watch the movie, she throws the keys down and like it's cut in such a specific way to try and like capture that. And they said that they tried everything to try and like get it. But and I personally don't think that they like really did capture it that well. And Scorsese himself says he's like I caught the picture on television a couple years later and I saw that scene and I still don't think we got it. You know, so it's just a very odd kind of edit.
My hyperfixation was not captured in film at that time.
So he gets the keys, he goes up, and then like every woman he talks to in this movie is some level of strange. It's just some level of like what is your deal?
Yeah.
You know? Kiki is this kind of, you know, punk artist who makes like paper mache plaster men who are like begging for their lives.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Tell me more.
Marcy, when Marcy actually like finally comes in, like Paul thinks that like they're gonna get it on, right? But she just she keeps kind of brushing him off and like moving to like she keeps changing the subject on him.
She's kind of got like her foot in the door.
Yeah.
Like to be like, I'll be right. I swear. Just one more thing. Just
Yeah.
one more thing. Just one more thing. Just one more thing.
And like, you know, he's like, he wants this to go well. So he's got patience for it. And then there's another point where she's like, let's go get a coffee, you know? And so they go get a coffee. We get our Dick Miller cameo. He's the waiter at the cafe. Mm-hmm. And like she just continues to kind of like bring up these like really fucked up weird things. Like she admits that she's married, and Paul asks her about it at the cafe.
He's like, oh, not a deal breaker, but oh,
yeah. So tell me about your husband. You know, and
he's like, he's not right behind me. Right?
Yeah. And she goes on to say, she's like, look, listen, okay, I was married for my husband for like 3 days, okay? And he was a movie freak. I love that term, movie freak. Because like Scorsese absolutely considers himself a movie freak.
Yeah, he's like, say it again. Or he does the Nathan Fielder again.
Yes.
Again.
And she was like, she says, have you seen The Wizard of Oz? And he's like, the film? Yeah, of course.
One of the most popular films of all time. I've heard of it. Yeah.
And she's like, he was obsessed with that movie. He watched it over and over again. And at first I thought it was cute, but when we would have sex and he came, he would just say, oh God, what was it?
I know. Free Dorothy.
Okay, let me just show you something. So the supplement in this is
that thing's awesome. Show the camera that one.
That comes into
It's
play
a little
later.
treat for the YouTube watchers out here.
Yeah, but I noticed
Yeah.
this.
Oh, Surrender Dorothy.
Surrender
Free
Dorothy. So when this man
Samsonite.
Samsonite. Surrender Dorothy. It's also got the like
Shark dick.
the shark biting the guy's dick on the urinal stall.
Yeah.
So like whenever he came, he would scream out, surrender Dorothy. And then she does this really kind of like manic thing where she's like, and you do it again and again and again and again, you know? Really cool moment with commentary track. Scorsese said that, you know, when we're doing, when I do a scene with an actor, you know, we'll do, you know, several takes of what I'm looking for, or like my direction. And then he'll tell them, do this one for you. just do whatever you want to do on this. And that particular thing where she's like, and again, and again, and again, that was like her take, you know, which is cool because it's a really good moment. You can see this like manic glare behind her eyes as she's like saying that, you know?
Yeah.
So he finally just kind of gets fed up and does that line that you said where he's like, you're so full of shit, you know?
Yeah. It's like a millisecond after he takes a puff of this joint that she offers him.
Yeah. He's like, what kind of weed is this? And she's like, the guy I got it from says it's Colombian. And he's like,
Fuck that.
yeah, fuck that. You're so full of shit.
You're full of shit. This
I came
sucks.
here for bagels. Where are the bagels?
Where are the paper mache? Yeah, it's not like put out already. It's where's my fucking bagel paper mache thing?
Yeah, because it's probably like 4 a.m. at this point, right? And he's gotten nothing but bullshit from this woman. So he's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. Yeah. And so when he leaves, like that makes her cry. He tries to get on the subway to go back home. Turns out the fare went up.
Did you know this?
It went up to like $1.50. He's got like 97 cents in his pocket or something.
So quaint. I love that.
And
the guy at the fare booth is just like, will not cede any ground.
Yeah.
He's like, it's my job.
Yeah.
I could lose my job.
Yeah, I love
That
when he's like, who's gonna know? He's like, I go to a party one time, I get drunk, I tell everyone.
Who's gonna know? Who wouldn't know? I'm a big blabbermouth.
Yeah, maybe I'll tell. And so
I'm not your friend.
So he's stuck in Soho, so he goes into a bar.
Yeah.
We get the bartender Tom, played by John Hurd.
Yeah. I love this kind of
Really
John Hurt.
cool bit part for him.
He is unhinged.
Yeah.
We don't know that, of course, off the top. We think.
I mean, you get it when you think he's a normal guy because Griffin
Dad.
Dunn's talking about how down on his luck he is, and then John Hurt's like, "I'll give you the fare," you know.
Yeah.
And then he tries to open the cash register. It won't open, so he just starts slamming it. Then he starts beating it. Then he starts trying to like kick it.
Shit is flying off the register from it. He's like, oh, no. I don't need the fare anymore. No, stop. I don't want anything you're offering me anymore.
And so he's like, sorry, I'm just on edge because there's this like burglar. And I'm
String
like,
of robberies.
afraid someone will break into my apartment. Listen, you know what? If you go get the key from my apartment and turn my... make sure that I turn my alarm on, I'll give you the fare. I can open up the cash register and I can give you the fare.
Yeah, he gives him a side quest.
Yeah. So he goes up, he does it. He does something which is never talked about again in the movie.
Yeah, that kind of gave me anxiety. I was like, when is anyone going to mention it?
He washes his face off and then throws the tissues in the toilet, and then the toilet backs up.
Yeah, he goes. He's like, oh no, I'm gonna flush it, and
it's one of those ones that has like the little cake in it, so the water's blue.
Yeah.
And then he comes back down, but the people that live in the building are like, "Who are you? You look like a burglar," you know.
Yeah.
And so
I don't recognize you. You're a stranger.
Yeah. So he comes down and he runs into the waitress from the bar, right?
Yes. They've had like a little brief interaction before he gets introduced to John Hurd. But yeah, he comes back, has an interaction with her. Julie,
yes.
Julie, that's her name.
And people keep making fun of her because she's got this like 60s vibe going on. Like she's got like a honeycomb hairdo.
Yeah. She's got a style.
She's got, I'm sitting here like, what's wrong? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
But then Griffin, he goes back into the bar and he's like, you think you can give me some aphrodisiacs back there? Because this chick wants to fuck me. I don't want anything to do with her.
Oh yeah, because their interaction is he comes back to the bar and the bar's closed up.
Yes. So then he goes up to Julie's apartment, which is right across the street from the bar. And then she's like, can I draw you? You know?
She's also like, I just quit
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So fuck that place. They were making fun of me or something.
Yeah.
Which I feel that. not that I feel like a lot of people are like making fun of me at work, but like that's all it would take for me to, just hear a little whisper like, you seen that guy's face? I'm like, you know what? Fuck all you two.
Yeah. That's literally the last straw. I'm done.
But he's up there and she's like, yeah, can I draw you?
She's trying to put the moves on him.
Yeah.
But he's at a point where he like all he wants to do is go home.
Yeah. He's like, I just want to go.
So he sees that Tom the bartender has come back and he gets out of there. He's like, listen, I'll come back.
I promise you.
I promise you. Yeah. Let me just get my keys.
I think right before he says this too, he's at her door and he looks over and you can see like her bedroom from here.
Yeah.
And there's like mouse traps in like a little semicircle around her bed.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just kind of something he glances at and is kind of like, gulp.
And there's this great shot where like you hear the snap and he does this. Yeah. And it cuts to
I'll be right back.
a rat in the trap. Yeah. So he gets there and like in the back of our heads, we're like, okay, just get your keys, man. Please just get your keys. And the bartender's like, why don't you just leave? What's she gonna do? Kill herself? And what we haven't discussed is that Marcy did kill herself.
No, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I can't believe we forgot.
Yeah, we breezed past that
yeah,
one.
Sorry. We should probably do like a like a trigger warning at the top of the episode for that. But yeah, Marcy, Rosanna Arquette does end up, killing herself, and Paul comes back to like say he's sorry, and that's how he discovers that she's done this.
But he's got the bartender's keys, and Rosanna Arquette is like naked in bed, and he sees that she has this tattoo that he hadn't seen before, and he sees that the tattoo is a skull, and the keychain, the bartender's keychain, is the same kind of skull.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh no.
Yeah, and before,
is this a connection?
Yeah, and before that, when he'd briefly glimpsed the tattoo before, we see like a little insert shot, and it looks like scratches.
Yeah,
or like burns or something, because he also finds like this burn victims like book. So he's like inventing these like scenarios of like, what the fuck is this chick's deal kind of thing. But it's really like an insight into like, what the fuck's your deal, dude? So I was worrying the whole time. I was like, what is his deal?
I mean, what did Scorsese say? He
all this guilt.
he's guilt ridden for everything,
I think I even said to you, like I tried to like call my shot on it like half an hour in. I'm like, this guy's got a fear of paper.
Or like you said he has a fetish for paper.
Fetish or a fear of paper. Loses the money, the paper mache thing. And I'm not wrong. I'm definitely not right, but I'm not wrong. Because getting turned into a paper mache man, that's probably a big fear of his,
There's such a like a focus on like inanimate objects in the movie too. And you're like, why? Maybe it's got something to do with Paul. Maybe something's screws loose on his end. Mm-hmm. But he does find her, and then like he like calls the paramedics and like leaves little signs
directing them
to dead body where the dead body is.
It's such dark humor. Yeah. But yeah, back to John Hurd.
Yeah.
He's like, what is he going to do? Kill herself?
Yeah.
And then
gets a phone call that exact moment. He learns that his girlfriend has killed herself. And like in our heads, we're like, is his girlfriend Marcy? I don't know if it's ever confirmed.
No. He says my girlfriend Marcy.
Okay. Yeah. So like, this is the guy. And then she also like, again, another trigger warning. Earlier, she says that like her boyfriend like raped her, and we're like,
Oh, yeah.
is bartender Tom that boyfriend, you know? And so Paul has a legitimate reason to kind of like fear this man, you know, and not get on his bad side. But he's also got his fucking keys, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't know how he ever gets them back, but he moves on. He tries to get in a cab, but it's the same cab driver that thinks that he ripped him off.
Yeah.
And then Catherine O'Hara is there, and she's like, "Why don't you come up to my place, you know, and you can use my phone."
Yeah.
And she's got a fucking screw loose too.
She's got some shit wrong with her. But the way he gets the $20 bill is there's a whole thing that happens between that. Is he finds the people doing the robberies, the break-in.
And it's
Cheech and Chong. Yes. That blew my fucking mind. I was like, yes, dude. But yeah, they were the ones doing the robbery, and they had the paper mache man from Kiki's apartment. And he's like, holy fuck. He's like, you guys stole that.
Yeah.
Too. But it turns out they bought it from her. It was the one thing they bought. And like even Cheech makes a joke. He's like, hey man, that's why you can't buy anything. People are going to steal it from you. People will rip you off. I love that. But yeah, that's how he gets the $20 bill back.
Yeah.
And we go up to Catherine O'Hara's place. She's like, yeah, you can come in. You can use my phone. Make a few calls.
And that, so he's like calling the operator, trying to get a phone number for who? I think it's for the bartender. He's trying to get a phone number
because he still needs his keys.
Yeah. And so the operator's telling him the phone number, but like she keeps whispering like random numbers in his head. It's just like fucking with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, at first he thinks it's cute, but then he's like, no, seriously, like you're being fucking annoying.
Yeah. I'm really tired. I want to go home.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me use your phone.
And then she's got she's like really proud about driving like a Mr. Frosty truck.
She's like, I can give you a ride home.
Yeah. And they take her down, but then she notices the flyer that Julie has made because she's mad that he like jilted her, you know?
Yeah. We don't even see it.
Yeah.
We just see that there is a yellow piece of paper, and she just picks it off and goes, oh no.
Yeah.
And kind of looks at him and just kind of fucks off. And he's like, why oh no? Why oh no? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then like blows this
she
whistle.
blows the whistle, and then there's the mob of people that are looking for the burglars, and she was like, that's him. Sick him. And now he's being chased by this mob. And eventually there's this great scene where he's like climbing through like fire escapes or something, and he sees this scene across the way through a window, and it's like a woman shoots her husband like fucking 10 times.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm gonna get blamed for that. That's so good.
Everyone's like, oh,
So at the same time, he's trying to get a hold of like Kiki. So he goes to like the like underground punk foot club that they went to.
Oh yeah. Mohawk night.
Yes. And so he's bouncing around from there. At a certain point, he runs into a man walking down the street. He's on his last fucking leg, and he's like, Can you take me home?
Yeah, I know how this looks. I'm sorry. I've just had a really long night. Can you please take me home? He's like, well, I've never done anything.
No,
like
he
this.
says, I'm just going to say this right now. There are things I will not do. And then it cuts to, he's like, I got to be honest with you. I've never done this with a man before. And then it cuts to Griffin Dunn, and he's just like, okay, can I use your phone?
Yeah. He's like, fair enough. That's not the most awkward thing that's happened to me tonight. Can I use your phone?
Yeah.
And then he's like, listen, I just need an ear for a second. And then he just goes off to this poor guy who's just,
Why don't you just leave then? And he looks out the window, and it's Julie, and she's putting up the flyers, and you finally see what's on the flyer.
Yeah, that's her. That's the girl. That's Julie.
And it
Julie.
says, this man is a burglar. If you see him, stop him. And it's like a really well done page, like drawing of him.
Yeah, she's got it.
So that's what's like fomenting the mob's rage to try to find him. And then he runs into this random bar where this like lone woman is, and then the bartender's like, hey, listen, if you want to make a move, you better do it quick. We're closing up. So he goes and talks to her.
Oh, that's at the club.
Oh, yeah, because everyone's cleared out at that point. Yeah.
Because they go to the diner. Because they go to the diner again.
And he sees Tom.
He sees John Hurt. He's like, I need my keys, man. He's like, oh, why didn't you say so? I'll go get them. No. First he like gets up to leave. He's like, where are you going? He's fucking traumatized at this point. He's like, no. I need to know where you're going. I was like, I'm gonna go get your keys. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. I'll be right here.
And then he runs into the mob. The mob shows him the thing, and he's like, he's in there.
Yeah. And then between that, this woman has handed him a little special invite.
Yeah.
To the bar in the club. So he retreats there. The bartender's like, yeah, it's invite only. If you want to make your move, make your move.
And then that woman takes him downstairs. She also does like weird paper mache stuff.
It's Soho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the mob is outside, and she's like, I have an idea. So she starts like draping him up in the paper mache to like hide him.
Yeah. Innate like thinking on your feet skills. Just to be like, get in this paper mache thing that I've already kind of got constructed.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so the mob comes in. They're like, huh. And then Catherine O'Hara has this like really fucked up line where she looks at it and she goes, doesn't look so hard. She leaves. And then like when the mob leaves, he's like, okay, let me out. But then she's like,
what if they come back?
Yeah. She like leaves him in it. Cheech and Chong break in. They find a replacement for the one that they broke, steal him, put him in the back of their van. They drive back uptown. And then he as the paper mache falls out the back, lands right back in front of his office, right where we started again.
Dusts himself off and walks in and sits down.
So, like this movie is an odyssey, one man's worst night of his life, kicked off by, just a very innocent, like all I wanted to do was like meet a nice girl.
Yeah.
Do I deserve to die? Yeah. And then Scorsese says, yes, you do. So After Hours is, somewhat, it's a darker themed screwball comedy, I think, through the lens of Martin Scorsese. But this next movie is a different beast entirely.
Yeah, this one's definitely darker, grittier.
It's ironic because it's not a good time.
Yeah. Which is every person posting a review for this is like, I'm the first one to think about that. Like, whoa, title a little misleading, don't you think? But Good Time, 2017. Let's read the back of this bad boy here. From acclaimed filmmakers Josh and Benny Safdie, Heaven Knows What, Lenny Cook, comes this hypnotic, adrenaline-fueled crime thriller. In a career-defining role, Robert Pattinson stars as Connie Nikas, who embarks on a twisted one-night odyssey through the city's underworld in a desperate and dangerous attempt to get his brother Nick, Benny Safdie, out of jail. Yeah, that is what it's about. And you'd think, okay, that would be like a movie that people would buy into. Like, oh, a guy trying to get his brother out of jail?
Yeah.
I'm in for that. Here's the thing. Connie's a piece of shit.
It's like he says that's what the movie's about, but
right.
What it's really about is Connie.
It is the Connie show.
Yeah,
for sure. And a lot of people are not about that. And I'm gonna dive into that.
The mainstream version of this movie is a man stopping at nothing to like get his like special needs brother out of prison.
Yeah, yeah. Who sacrifices his otherwise good morals.
Yeah.
To go outside the law.
Yeah. But it That's not how the Safdies roll.
No. This guy starts with no morals and gets worse. But before we dive into the movie itself, just a little backstory for how I experienced this movie.
Yeah.
It's 2017, and like the movie heads at the time are like living in a post-Moonlight world. Because this is also like a A24 distributed movie, so we're like, dude, we're on top of the world. We're getting some cinema again, you know.
A movement is brewing.
A movement is brewing. You know, they're not all hits. They're very much not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm like, perfect, because there was so much like just big blockbuster fare, and there always will be, but it just felt like inescapable in like the mid 2010s.
Right, because like especially around the time that this movie is coming out is like the Marvel movies are leading to like Infinity War, you know? Like it's like the big crescendo of that whole thing is building up to its final thing. And so that's what a lot of mainstream film is about at the time.
Yeah, that's like the cultural zeitgeist right there. Which in my opinion kind of sucks. Could be better. I think we can do better. I think we need a little more variety other than comic book hero stuff. Keep your comic book hero stuff. That's fine. Just variety is all I'm asking for, really.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
You don't just eat candy as part of your diet.
Right.
You know?
Sometimes a little rotten fruit should be eaten. Just to go, oh man. But that was kind of good though. So I'm like in my mid-20s at the time, and like I just wanted something more challenging than like, you know, 50 Shades of Grey and the Minions movie and that weird 300 sequel that we got, you know.
That was so bad.
That's the time that this movie came out. So it was just like, oh, you want to see some fucked up guy do some fucked up shit and get his brother out of jail, but not really, because he's fucked up and he fucks up constantly.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I really would like to see that. Were you in like a similar, like kind of like funk, or like how you felt about like the current movie landscape at that time?
I mean, like,
not like jaded, but like kind of like,
no,
need something more.
Because so like in a lot of ways, like we could look at A24 as kind of like our generation's Miramax. You know, it is the last bastion of hope for independent cinema, you know, kind of thing. But before A24 had kind of like claimed that throne, there was another distributor called Magnet Releasing.
Oh, Magnet's still going strong.
Yeah. And that's that, like, I hadn't entered a kind of like hopelessness because I loved what Magnet was doing.
Yeah.
They were doing, I think they leaned more into genre fare than A24 did, at the start.
More foreign.
More foreign stuff. They had, 13 Assassins. They did the VHS movies, Eyes of My Mother, which was really good. The Innkeepers. I Saw the Devil.
Yeah.
So, they were putting out stuff. Hobo with a Shotgun.
Okay.
Rubber. Bronson. Bronson was such a good movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was over there like eating my Magnet Releasing
I'm good.
stuff, but I did feel very much like Magnet was not. Like, I couldn't talk to anyone about, like, did you see Rubber, that movie about the serial killer tire? Not cool.
They're like, that Thor movie was pretty good. You're like, The Dark World? No one likes that.
I wasn't, I still had a lot, and I hadn't really, like, entered my 80s movies, like, Discovery either, and so that's kicked off like at least like a 6-year kind of like discovery of that whole. So I like it was the beginning of me pulling back from watching movies theatrically, I think, and like let's look at the backlog. Let's look at the library, and caring a little less about like what's new coming out,
Yeah, which I think that's like That's the subtext of all my like shooting off the flares about
Yeah.
like the death of theatrical movies is like when all of the movies are like these big splashy events, like that's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. Sometimes they just need to be like little independent adult movies. And like some people online will be like, oh, they can't all be like edgy art. And like, I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for adult stuff because most of it is just pew pew light, oh, well, that just happened.
They're like it's and you've got real filmmakers like making these like comic book movies, but like
They gotta get paid.
At the end of the day, it's more about the marketing campaign than it is about, like maybe there's like a theme in here that's gonna connect us all together, or like let's explore the depths of the human soul together. You're not gonna get that with something that needs to be marketed to 6 or 7 different film markets throughout the world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But that's why I have a fondness for Good Time,
Right.
is that it does ask you to like not identify with, but like go along the journey with a guy who you wouldn't like want to be in the same room with. Really.
Yeah, he's a bad guy, and he is your protagonist whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Try to see like where he's coming from, or like what got him there, like what makes him tick. I think that's why I like watching like anti-hero movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't. People are like, oh, it's a bad time, a bad guy. Not for me.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, okay, I get that. Another part of me, the bully in me, is like, grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
Or like must we always play the good guy?
Yeah.
Take a walk on the wild side. See,
Like, yeah, people are complex. People have flaws, and this like these are just like really heightened flaws. And
Yeah.
and the movie's not asking to be like, wow, can he be redeemed? It's just asking for your empathy, just like a little bit, And some people aren't willing to do that. But there's a good quote from an article that came out around the time that The Good Time was released, and I want to pull from that.
Okay.
Because I really agree with this sentiment about the movie. It's from an article called "Good Time is an instant classic New York City movie." The quote is, "This is at heart a movie about a guy taking advantage of the world around him, attentive to all the structures, assumptions, and psychological nits that make this possible. It wouldn't suit the movie's moral universe for a sense of equity to enter in that equation, so it never does. This is apparent from the start in the differences between Nick and Connie, and in the freedom of one man and the imprisonment of another. Instead, the things that work out for some people clearly, and often cleverly, do so at the heavy expense of others. It's a movie in which the true victims of crime aren't necessarily its intended targets, but rather the people who simply happen to be there and are available to be manipulated when it's happening. Mm-hmm. This is as true of the two brothers at the center of Good Time as it is of anyone else." Yeah, this article got it. Absolutely. Like,
It's like there are people's lives left in the wake of other men's ambitions,
yeah. And you can you get that. The movie tells you what it is about, like immediately.
Yeah.
From the jump. Because you get this, the introduction of this movie is we start in a dialogue between Nick, the developmentally disabled younger brother.
Yeah.
He's in a dialogue with a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is like, "Hey, Nick, thanks for coming in." You could tell Nick is just like
He's shut off.
He's
Yeah.
he's clammed up. He is looking for any excuse to get out of this conversation. But the psychiatrist is like, "Hey, we're gonna do some word association games. Is that okay?" Mm-hmm. He's not pushy, whatsoever. But he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna say a phrase and we'll have a discussion about it. Like, what does this mean to you?" And he says, what is the phrase, "Don't count your chickens before they roost"? What does that mean to you? And Nick says, don't count your chickens.
Yeah.
And I want to mention that because Mickey was watching it with me, and she literally said, "Don't count your chickens," as he said it. So I think the filmmakers did a really good job capturing like a truth about like people who just like don't understand like those kind of expressions. It's exactly how they would respond. It's just like, no, I don't get it. Don't count your chickens. It's very like on its face kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, we'll move on. What about like word association? Salt and water. What does that remind you of? And he says, the beach. And he starts to cry. And you're like, oh, fuck, this gets fucked up.
The first time I'd ever kind of had any kind of therapy, right? She asked a question, right? And it was very early in the actual talking about it.
Yeah.
From her asking the question to me starting to cry, maybe took about 20 seconds. It's fucking crazy how close to the surface all of that shit is held, right? And like the fact that it like all it took was the word association to make like that's so real, you know,
To penetrate that armor that you always have up.
Yeah.
Like you may not be conscious of it.
Yeah.
But you have a guarded you're putting up a guard.
Yeah.
You know?
And he has the additional difficulty of having his mental disabilities, right? So he doesn't even fully understand why he's crying, you know?
Yeah, he's playing on a different difficulty.
Yeah.
And then, dude, just to up the difficulty even more, if we're going with the video game analogy still, fucking his brother, Connie, bursts into the room. What the fuck's going on here?
At the moment that the therapist is having a kind of breakthrough, right? Immediately cut off by Connie.
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck is this? What are you doing in here, Nick? Nick, explain yourself." He's like, "He's writing stuff down. He's writing stuff down." He's like, "Well, get that shit and rip it up," and he does. He becomes a different person when Connie is in there.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, and the psychiatrist is like, "Shame on you, Connie. Shame on." He's like, "Fuck you. Shame on me."
Yeah.
And they walk out. And there's another thing that I didn't pick up until I watched it again while I was writing my notes. Is in the hallway, Connie looks at another like mentally challenged person in the hallway, and he kind of sneers, and then he says to Nick, he's like, "Is that what you think you are?" Dude, this guy's a piece of shit, dude. And they get in the elevator, and he's like, "I love you, bro. Though I love you too.
Yeah.
Like you're not a fucking one of them, but I fucking love you.
Yeah,
kind of thing." And then the title drops. Good time.
Where I took note of it. It was like we get maybe 17 minutes into the movie before we get our opening credits.
Oh yeah. And then it's like even further till we start. Yeah. Oh yeah, like the actual credits, not the title drop.
Yeah,
the credits.
I think it's after the bank robbery.
Yeah,
we get our. It's just Robert Pattinson, and you're like, "Whoa, I'm in a movie!"
Yeah, what the fuck? Because that's some context that the back of the box doesn't give. Is that Nick is in jail because of his brother?
Yeah,
he decides to bust him out of therapy to go rob a bank.
Yeah.
Damn, brother of the year, dude. So I got like this really good insight into Connie's motivations that we don't really get from the movie itself. It's heavily implied, which is great. But the like literal reason behind what Connie does is revealed by Ronald Bronstein in this Lincoln Center Q&A after a screening of the movie. He said that Connie's whole deal is that him and Nick, they're brothers. Their parents like skipped out at some point, and now they live with their grandmother. Mm-hmm. And that caused Connie to like really act out violently, even to Nick. So he was like a piece of shit older brother to him. And then he eventually wound up in jail and had like an epiphany. Had like I'm going to turn my life around, but my version of that is turning my disabled brother against our grandmother. And then we're gonna bust out of this joint, be in New York. We're gonna leave.
Okay.
So he like had some correspondence, like he like wrote him from jail. And the way they did that in real life was Robert Pattinson and Benny Safdie would email each other, and they would BCC the director Josh Safdie and Ronald Bronstein on it. So they would have like kind of input on how they would respond occasionally. They would like direct them basically in these email correspondences. And I thought one of the best ones was there was an email. I don't know what specifically it was, but it was one Robert sent to Benny, and Josh was like, "Don't answer that one." Just to fuck with them. So he made him email him back to be like, "Why aren't you talking to me?" And I was like, that was smart, just to get him into more of a Connie. Like, Connie would push. Absolutely. Let's see what it looks like when Connie pushes.
Yeah.
You know? So that's Connie's whole deal. And so his idea of, he's like, therapy's bullshit. The system's broken. And like, you're almost there. You're almost there, Connie. Yeah, there are things wrong with the system for sure. But his idea of like getting Nick some independence is taking him on a heist, robbing a bank with him.
Yes.
So he's got like, it's that classic, like the intentions were good, but if like an idiot came up with those intentions.
And I think that's what projects Connie through this entire movie. And we'll get to just all of the fucked up things that he gets up to. But it's like, keep in mind that like it is this weird thing where everything Connie does there on the face of it, it could look like he's doing it for someone else. Like he has like a selfless kind of thing. But I feel, my opinion is deep down, he everything he's doing for himself.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's what he learned in jail, was to put on that facade.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm doing it for my brother, not for me. I'm not selfish.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit who can't do anything for themselves. I'm a doer.
Yeah.
You may not like the way I get things done, but I'm a doer, kind of thing. And there are probably thousands of assholes just like this, right? You know? People will be like, this guy's a piece of shit. Why would I want to watch this? I'm like, you probably know 3 pieces of shit just like this.
Absolutely.
They just aren't as, intense about it as this guy is, and is right up in your face.
Yeah.
That's what's great about this movie is it's taking that kind of guy and being like, really look at this motherfucker, and that's hard. That is hard for people. But like After Hours, Good Time just kind of zips along at a really frenetic pace. Like once you get going, you get going. Like that. The heist happens, it fucking goes to shit, and the cycle repeats itself.
Yeah.
A thing happens, it goes to shit. A thing happens, it goes to shit.
It was like, what'd you say? It's like a heist. If an idiot had thought.
If an idiot thought of it, yeah. Because, and it's always because of Connie's actions.
Yes.
He always decides to push it just a little bit further than what he can get away with. Because they do the heist and he like writes out like, we're here for the robbery, don't do the alarm or whatever. And they get a good amount of money in a bag. Like any amount of money. It was like, you did it. And he's like, more.
Yes.
And it causes the teller to go into the back.
And she grabs she puts in the ink thing.
Yeah, it's implied. We don't see that, but like, come on. Unless you're Connie, you're like, well, how did that get in there? Well, that's what the fuck she was doing back there, Yeah, it puts the dye in the bag, and then it goes off while they're in the car, the getaway car. And it's right after he's like, hey, Nick, you want to see this? You want to see the bag of money? He's like, sure, yeah, I don't care. It goes off, and he's like, oh! It's in my eyes, it burns. He's like, it doesn't burn, Nick. He's saying it hurts how it burns. He's like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Shut up. And then they have to run over to like a restaurant, like a Domino's or something. They hop into a Domino's bathroom and they're like, hey, get the fuck out of here. You got to be paying customers. He's like, hold on. We had an accident. My brother's mentally handicapped. Something. So even then he's like using his brother as an excuse to get what he wants. He's like, oh, you're going to fight? You can hit a guy with glasses, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's another great thing. I think about the Safdies is like, they are masters of constructing a scene where like, it could be one character, it could be multiple characters, right? But like everyone's got a thing that they're trying to accomplish, and then there's something that's like putting pressure on the situation, you know, and it's just more and more and more. So you've got the manager of the restaurant outside going like, I'm gonna call the cops if you don't get out, and then so he's just like, it's my brother, he's disabled, I gotta, you know, wash his eyes out, you know.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. It like to have that level of like anxiety maintained throughout a movie, you know?
As a non-New Yorker, right? We're like, oh my God. Maybe like a New Yorker is probably like, no, this is my comfort film.
Yeah, this is just Tuesday.
This is just a Tuesday. Anyways, so after the heist, they get cleaned up. But like the cops are hard on their trail.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, Nick, like just don't run. Don't act nervous. Like, I'm here. We got it. We're in control. And then like the cops pull up to them like as they're just walking on the sidewalk and like, hey fellas, can we see your face? Basically, he's like, oh no, we're good, kind of thing. And then boom, Nick just darts.
Yeah.
It's like, because of course you would. Like that's nerve wracking.
Yeah.
And they take off running. They go through like this mall. There's a whole funny story about like the setup for the mall that Josh Safdie says is that they got permission to film there, but they were going around setting up shots like they didn't have permission. So the cops that they had on set were like, what are you fellas doing? You got permission to be here. Like, you ain't got to be all cover at night shit. He's like, sorry, that's the Stark Gorilla filmmaking kicking in.
This is what we're used to.
This is what we're used to. And then Nick crashes through this window as they're trying to escape because Connie's just like ahead of him. He's just taking off. And he's like, come on, Nick, come on. But not really actually hanging back to make sure Nick is all right. He's just like, you got it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And Nick gets arrested.
Yep.
And that kicks off the title credits there where we see, dude, Nick goes through some shit in jail. Like, he is not equipped for this. Like, he gets bear maced by a cop because like these other guys are fighting in the cell and they're like, break it up in there. And of course they're not going to go in there and do it themselves.
We already know he has a sensitivity to fucking shit getting in his eyes, you know?
And he just gets it's like the backsplash from the bear mace, and a lot of other people do too. And it's like, oh, fuck. And then I forget what like Connie is really up to at this time. But I think he turns in the money to like a bail bondsman.
Yeah, he's trying to get Nick out on bail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one nice thing he's trying to do. But again, he put him there.
Yeah.
So that's the least you could fucking do.
But because the money got all fucked up from the die, he doesn't have enough to even make bail, right?
Yeah.
So they're underwater on this now, you know? And then...
It's like, you need $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Nick gets in a fight in jail with a guy, gets his fucking ass beat, you know?
Yeah. Just because he has like that like kind of like an autistic need to like I need my show on the TV. But there's these hard guys and they're being like, don't touch the fucking TV.
But he's putting on this hard act, I think, that he learned from Connie too, right? Like, don't take no shit from no one.
Yeah, don't take no shit from nobody, Nick.
Yeah, that's good until you get your fucking face caved in jail, you know, from real hardened criminals, you know?
Yeah, which is actually a good springboard to a problematic aspect of this movie that people kept bringing up, was that Benny Safdie is not a developmentally challenged man, but he's playing that character. Some people were like, oh, wow, you could have like hired like that type of actor to play that role. So you would think if you just read that, like, damn, they're problematic, you know? But there was an interview, like a Hollywood Roundtable interview, or Hollywood Reporter, sorry, not the Roundtable, Hollywood Reporter interview, where they're like, what was that process like? And they said, yo, we absolutely like did interviews with folks and we met some like really nice people. But at the end of the day, we had like a schedule, like a really tight schedule to meet. And there was like all these action scenes and it just didn't feel right. We didn't want to put those people through that. Like that could fuck them up.
Bring a severely autistic person into like the ecosystem of a film set that like you need to get the shot and then move the fuck on. Like, they'd have a meltdown every day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like that would be hard just for me. You know, I'd be like, oh fuck, that's a lot of pressure just to put on anyone.
Yeah.
You know, so they opted. They're like, you know what, like it was great meeting them and stuff, but at the end of the day, that's what we went for because reality of the shoot of making the film came in, and he was just like, Benny said, yeah, I know this guy, I know Nick, so I feel like I could play that, and I think he does a wonderful job, and. Yeah, I would have felt actually like even fucking worse if it was just like a developmentally disabled actor getting the fucking shit kicked out of him and getting bear mace, you know, even though it's an act, it's a movie, you know, like I would have felt really fucking bad seeing that.
That's such a valid argument of like the needs of production, you know, dictated, like we just needed to be able to be mobile, you know?
Right. So like on the one hand, I understand representation is important and is good. But then there are the realities of getting a film made, and just they are at odds with each other. And I'm sorry, that sucks. Like I don't like it all that much either. But you got if the film gets made, that's a miracle, you know.
Yeah.
But back to like the plot. So after that, Connie's like, okay, I need to come up with this $10,000. So he hits up like, I guess like his girlfriend. Kind of person, you know?
That is the exact right way to describe this woman.
Corey is her name, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
And I love that intro. Do you remember how she's introduced? Like the way he knocks at her door.
Yeah, and then her mom answers, right?
Yeah, kind of. She's like, it was like a New York answer of the door of like, who is it? Through the door. It's like, it's Connie. And her mom's like, oh, no, get that fucking... No, that guy's not coming in here. And she's like, why not, Mom? Why can't my friend come in here? And they have like a whole full-on fucking argument before they even open the door. Yeah. So that, again, tells you exactly who the fuck Connie is. Like, that guy's bad news. Not in my fucking apartment.
She reads so, like, daughter of maybe, like, upper middle class family that, like... It like has been to rehab maybe 15 times. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like in her late 40s, like, Mom, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Still living with her fucking parents. Yeah.
And they have this conversation in like a cab on the way. I think they're on the way. No, I don't think they're on the way to the bail bondsman.
They're going somewhere and then he brings up, hey, like, I need to get my brother out of jail. I just need a few grand.
Yeah. Connie does what Connie does. He commandeers the situation.
Yeah.
And he lies. He lies his fucking ass off. He says like that Nick was in therapy and the therapist got like physical with him. So Nick was just defending himself.
Yeah.
And now they locked him up. Can you believe that? Anyways, I need a couple thousand. Not going to be any specifics, but like I know you got it.
Yeah.
And she's like going through like these like rentals for like cabins or some shit like that.
She's talking about like a nice trip that
she wants to go on. And she's like, well, what about our trip? He's like, didn't you fucking hear me? What are you talking about that bullshit for? I'm talking about my brother.
Yeah.
It's you gonna hit a guy with glasses? You gonna argue with a guy with a brother in jail?
People, that's what gaslighting looks like.
Yes. And I don't see that aspect come up a lot in these reviews of like Connie being a bad guy. I'm like, what about this shit? Like he's just such a casual cunt, you know?
Yeah.
And so they go to the bail bondsman.
She's obviously uncomfortable with the ask in the first place, but she's like, oh, all right. And then he tells the driver like a new place to go.
Yeah.
Right. So like he had no intention of going where she wanted to go in the first place, you know, which is just like such a scummy fucking, he makes the decision for her, you know? And so they go to the bail bondsman.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do is dumb. It's bullshit. Stop. Anyways, we're going to the bail bondsman.
Yeah.
They go there and then it's, oh, you got the $10,000? She's like, $10,000? You said it was like $3,000. He's like, what's the difference?
$7,000 is the difference.
Yeah. And he's just like, what's the difference? I need it. That doesn't bother me. I need it. You'll get it back. What do you want? No actual like follow through, like definitive, like how that's going to happen. Just like, you'll get it back.
Yeah. And it's an argument that like is taking place in front of other people, you know? So he's like, people will use that pressure You know, like if someone is like a non-confrontational person, they don't want to have a fight in front of people, so they'll just agree with what the bad person, you know, is trying to get them to do, just to avoid the like how an argument will look to other people.
Yeah, it's well, if I say no, I'm rude.
Yes.
It's kind of like how there's a lot of like controversies that come up with like clips that go viral of people like reacting weirdly to people on social media, like touching them, like hey, let's do this dance kind of thing, and then all of a sudden the person who didn't respond jovially to the person recording, like they're an asshole, they were just trying to do a dance. Yeah, it's like fuck you, like you're a stranger.
You set them up.
Like don't turn this shit around.
Yeah, it's like the same that like people who react poorly to being pranked, you know?
Yeah.
Fuck
it's
you.
Just a joke.
They didn't ask to be a part of your goddamn celebrity.
Yeah, you know what? Instead of go outside, nerd, go inside, nerd. Leave people alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ties back to like the quote that I mentioned earlier about Connie being able to recognize these like social structures and manipulate the shit out of them. Like he knows them, but he's gonna use them to his own ends. And he gets her to like scan the card. It goes wrong. Ma, did you cancel the card? She calls up her mom. Like, did you cancel the card? Ma, come on. I'm just trying to do something nice for my friend. I'm trying to do something nice. And then he's also at the same time, because he's always constantly juggling plates, Connie, he's like getting the bail bondsman guy. He's like, call him up.
Yeah.
Like, we got the money. Come on,
do it now. Hold of the judge now.
Yeah. He's like, well, the judges go to dinner at 9. He's like, what time is it now? 8:30. Well, call him. Yeah. He's like, they go to dinner at 9.
This is the
He's
scene.
Like, so there's time.
Yeah. This is the scene. So I was like, okay, Brittany, I'm going to put Good Time on. And she was like, all week, she was like, I don't want to watch that. And so, but I put it on while she was still hanging out in the living room. Because I wanted to like catch her in the gravity of it. And so she had watched it for a while. And I turned to that point and she's just like she's just watching it. And I turn and I'm like, it fucking got you, didn't it? And she turns, she's like, I hate this. I can't do this. Cause it's like 5 layers of bullshit, you know? Jennifer Jason Leigh's screaming at her mother. Connie's like talking to the bail bondsman on the phone. Bail bondsman's talking to the fucking, you know, clerk on the other end of the line.
Yeah.
You've got like the other like woman there who ran the card.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's so many things going on that you're like, this is terrible. This is not a good time, you know?
Yeah. So you did a Connie thing. You were like, hey, I gotta watch this movie for my podcast. What are you not gonna watch the movie for the podcast?
Don't you care about my podcast?
Don't you care about my podcast? So then he's like, okay, well, like the bail bondsman's like, oh shit, he's not there. He's not on the calendar. Which I don't know what the fuck that means. I've never really had anyone sent to jail that I know. And he's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Connie's like, what the fuck does that mean? He's sent to a very specific like hospital in New York. He's like, oh, the hospital? Like, call him up. He's like, all right. He's like, there's this fucking guy here.
Yeah.
Like, can you call him up real quick? Can you do it for me? So like, that's like a normal person asking someone a favor. He's like, listen, there's this fucking asshole here. Can you just do it real quick? Because it doesn't look like he's going to leave, you know, until he's not going to take no for an answer.
You hear them screaming. There will be more if you say no.
Yeah.
You know?
and then during that, he actually calls out. He's like, hey, he's like, we're getting a little hysteric over here. He's like, I don't like people shouting in my office. And then Connie comes up like closer to him to be like, hey, so, he's like, I didn't know she's going to be like this. He shifts his tactics again.
Yeah.
Instead of being like across the room, peer pressure, he's like, okay, we can work out a deal, right? Let me get that money out of the safe. He's like, oh, the money in my safe? No, that's mine.
Yeah.
You're not getting that. He's like, your shit's not going to work on me, pal. You know, he's like, fine. All right, I'll get it. That's like his one L.
Yeah.
That he takes like kind of gracefully in the Connie Nika's way.
Well, I mean, no, because what's his next move? Like, okay, I can't get him out the right way.
go to the
I'm
hospital.
gonna go fucking bust him out of the hospital next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so my money's no good for you?
Yeah.
My canceled credit card's no good for you? Yeah, so he goes to the hospital and again shows another instance of him manipulating social norms.
Yeah.
Is he sees like the increased police presence there, and he kind of just puts on a little show for this other guy there, and he's like, "Hey, what's up with all these cops around here, man?" He's like, "I got a sick dad up there." Puts on the Connie show.
And the guy's like, what floor? It's like, the fifth floor.
Fifth floor.
He's like, they don't keep prisoners on the fifth floor.
Yeah.
They keep them on the sixth. Yeah.
Perfect. He's like, that's all I need.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
boom. And he goes up there, and there's a guy watching a room. There's a cop watching the room. And he, like, spins another yarn in front of him while he, like, peeps in. And I was like, okay, who's in there? And it is a guy that's kind of fucked up in a bed.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like his brother. Sure. That comes into play later.
Last time we saw his brother, he's getting his face kicked in.
Yeah. Connie doesn't know this.
Yeah.
But that's a good assumption, is that you got sent to the hospital because you got your shit kicked in.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, cool. Yeah, you want anything from the vending machine kind of thing while I'm over here? Yeah, okay, cool. And he just sneaks into a room to just kind of post up and wait for the guy to leave. And he kind of, this is like that one instance where Connie shows a semblance of humanity, is that there's someone in the room and is like, who's there? And he goes and he opens like her juice. It's like this elderly black woman, and he opens her juice and like gives her some.
You can tell she had like kind of been like ignored because she's thirsty. Like he gives her the juice and she sucks it down. I picked up on that scene too, and I was like, even in the most like human scene in this movie, it is all still a part of his game because he needs a place to lay low for the cop to go away. So like nothing this man does is selfless in any sense of the word.
Yeah, because then he literally sips from it too.
Yeah.
He like finishes it off. It's like, the fuck's wrong with you,
Yeah.
dude? Like, just give her the juice. He's like, and don't you forget who did that for you, kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you're threatening this woman, kind of. He's crazy. I think it's really funny that the security guard or the cop watching the room is like, I'm gonna go to the vending machine. You want? Later, he like incepted that idea into this guy's head, and so then he goes in there. He kicks the shit out of the bed, busts this guy out of there. Long story short, they end up on like a bus, like
Like a telehealth, not like a health transit bus. Yeah. People who don't.
specifically for like outpatients or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think I'm using that word right. I sounded smart using it, so I'm going to go with it. And he cons his way onto there because they have a list of people. I don't know if anyone's ever used one of those buses before, but there's like a list of people.
Well, they have the driver's got to have a route.
Yeah. It's not just like, where you headed? He knows.
Yeah.
That's part of the convenience, is they don't need to, burden someone with that information. It's just, okay, get on the bus. We'll take you home. Don't worry about it. But he cons his way onto there. He cuts in line. He's like, hey, but my brother, he doesn't have a jacket. It's cold. It's fucking freezing out here. Let him in. So he gets on the bus. He just rides it to the end of the line. And the guy's like, hold on. We're like, there's a fourth? I only had like 3 people on my route. He's like, fuck, I called it in. I don't know what to tell you.
It's like we're just a few blocks up.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like 2 blocks or 20 minutes 2 blocks.
Yeah. I love that. I love that reaction. Like, this is 2 blocks. Like, would I lie to you? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, fuck it, let's go. They get out, but he Connie kind of uses this like little moment of human connection with that last stop. He like clocks exactly where she was, goes back, and is like, hey, remember me?
Yeah.
From the bus?
He picks a random spot to get dropped off in and then backtracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, remember me from the bus? Anyways, I can't get in. I lost my key. He bullshits his way into there.
Yeah.
Again, he's very good at this. He's reading all the social cues. He's like, you know what? She looked nice enough. And what other options do I got? Kind of. Gets let in. She's like, well, I was also taking someone home in a wheelchair. She's got that sympathy. She's like, I'm not just going to leave a guy and also in a wheelchair out in the freezing New York cold. It's like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, can I use your phone? I think he's got his phone. He's got his phone. So it's really weird. He's like, can I use your phone? Just to like kind of see if he can do that kind of thing. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe I'm misremembering. But anyways, he's using her phone. And he's like, okay. I think he calls up Corey again. He's like, hey, you need to come pick me up. And she's like, why would I do that?
No, he doesn't call anyone. He puts on a show, and he's like, and he calls his mom in front of her.
Okay. Right.
And
yeah, you're right.
And then even that's a part of the story. He's like, oh, she's not gonna be home until like 7 a.m. Can we just like hang out here until then?
Yeah, I'm gonna go break a window.
Yeah.
She's like, break what window?
She's like, don't do that. Stay. And then that woman has like her like 15-year-old granddaughter is like in the background, like watching all this happen. Mm-hmm. And I think like the lowest Connie goes in this movie is about to come up.
Yes. Not surprisingly, this is the thing that comes up quite a bit in reviews for the movie.
Yeah.
I say reviews, it's just people bitching about it. But like it is fucked up. Of course. It's the worst thing he does.
Have you not paid attention to the rest of the movie?
Right. Like did you just get on the bus here?
Yeah.
Or
of course he was going to try and hook up with this 15-year-old girl.
Not really, right? Because it's like it only happens because his shit is getting aired on the news, the local news.
He goes to distract her with a kiss.
Yeah.
But like he also didn't have to like pick her up and take her to the bedroom.
It was a long segment, dude. He was still going. Yeah. So he's like, let's get that out of here just in case you hear something that makes you want to look at the screen kind of thing. Let's get you the fuck out of here. And you know, a lot of people just shout like, dude, this fucking pedo, dude. Like, I mean, sure. But like, he doesn't fuck her.
He doesn't get that far.
No.
But also like he's not a good guy.
No, he's not a good guy. I'm not pro Connie here.
Yeah, we are like nothing this man like does is gonna like redeem himself. You know?
Yeah. This guy made out and like got to first base with a minor. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That is fucked up.
Yeah.
But like people were like, he slept with this minor. No, he didn't. Sorry. You're blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah.
Watch the movie a little more
But also
carefully.
that's not a reason to not watch the movie or to like say it's a bad movie.
Right.
You know? Like,
exactly.
Yeah. That's what the character is.
Yeah.
And what the character did. Yeah.
But yeah, there's like this whole thing, this like malaise that he's in at Crystal. That's her name. The younger girl, Crystal. While he's at this place, just kind of like laying low, he like dyes his hair, and she's like, "Why the fuck did you do that?" Yeah. He's like, "I'm just kind of a weirdo."
Yeah, he's like, "I just found some hair dye."
Yeah. And he's like, I think he's like texting Corey at that point. He's like, "Pick up your phone, like, come get me. I sent you the address."
That's so great. Like it's like he's like, pick up. Why aren't you picking up? Why aren't you picking up? There's like a string of just like question marks, and then he's looking at it and he's like, well, maybe this will work, and he just does more question marks.
Yeah. But yeah, during this moment where he's being a bad guy, making out with this underage girl, the guy that was in the wheelchair wakes up and is like, "Where the fuck am I?"
Yeah.
And it's not Nick.
Yeah.
It's not his brother. It's the most annoying man alive, actually.
So I wrote this down, all right?
Okay.
So we find out that that guy's name is Ray.
Yeah.
And I wrote, Ray is the exact kind of person that I would hate to be associated with in any form whatsoever.
He gets brought over to the function like, "Hey, this is my boy Ray." don't ever bring that guy around ever again. Holy shit.
Yes. He's just a loud, brutish fucking moron, dude. And so he wakes up and he's making all this goddamn racket. Connie's got to jump on him.
Shut the fuck up. Don't you fucking ruin this for me.
You're in my fucking arm, bro.
Yeah, I said shut the fuck up. If you wake this fucking lady up, I swear to God, he's like, I'm calm, bro.
Yeah. Was screaming, I'm calm.
Yeah, I'm fucking calm.
Ray sucks. I fucking I appreciate that they were able to make a character so easily hateable.
Yeah.
But goddamn, dude.
The actor does a great job.
Yeah.
And his story in the car that we'll get to later is fantastic.
Yeah.
But Ray wakes up. So the bombshell drops. That's not Nick.
Yeah.
Again, Connie keeps fucking up. Every attempt at goodness to save his brother is just a fucking avenue down you fucked up lane.
Right. You went from bank heist if an idiot planned it to prisoner escape if an idiot fucking planned it.
So he's like, let's go back to the hospital. And he convinces Crystal to take her grandma's car for a joyride. And she goes along with it because they're older than her.
She's just an impressionable.
She's impressionable
girl. She's talking about how her boyfriend's a drug dealer. She's trying to impress him. You know,
she's probably high right now too.
Yeah,
she's like, I don't know. I just go to my room, I smoke. You know?
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't do nothing for me. I'm immune to it. I love
she
that.
probably thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
But there's a reason. Go ahead.
I was gonna say during that conversation with my boyfriend's a drug dealer. Well, my ex, he tries to use that. He's like, where does he live? And I'm like, is this guy gonna go to her ex-boyfriend's house to rob him?
Yeah.
No, he's scheming. He's always scheming.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
making himself look badder than her ex.
Yeah.
You know. She's like, I can't say that information.
It would make his house hot.
Yeah, I can't do that to him.
She's cool. She's cool. She absolutely does not deserve this, She's taking care of herself. She's like, I'm just going to throw in some chicken nuggets. And you really don't see any extreme details of the living area, but
you get enough. Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough out there.
And even Connie says a little later, why he decided to bring her along.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's kind of like a throwaway line, but when they go to that White Castle, where they drive by the hospital,
it's hot
and see that it's hot,
yeah.
And then they're like, let's get some food.
Yeah.
Because
it's Ray. I'm fucking starving back here. Yeah. God damn it, Ray.
She goes into the White Castle, and then Ray's like, all right, she's gone. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And then Connie says oh, what? And then turn this into a stolen car.
Yeah. Drive around his fucking stolen car.
So the only reason he has her along is so that there's plausible deniability.
He got an alibi.
Yeah.
At least,
Which again, he's using anyone who falls into his path. He uses.
Yeah. And because Ray is not a man who likes any dead air whatsoever, he's like, let me tell you my fucking story, dude.
Yeah.
And he just tells you his own little odyssey. And it's a little what if for Connie Light. What Connie could have been, what his life could be like if he was more of a passenger instead of this doer that he is. He's like, I just got let out of fucking jail. And he's like, and of course I want something to drink, so I go get some fucking liquor with the little money that I have left, and he meets my boy Caliph. We start dropping acid. There's these lewd moments of him just screwing this girl in the background while this guy's making this acid in a Sprite bottle, which is important.
And he's just like,
that felt a little John Watersy, the smell-o-vision guy in Polyester. But he's like, yeah, oh, let me drop some hits on this little Pepe comic strip thing. And then they drop some tabs. They're hitting up the arcade. They're hitting up Adventureland, right? Or no. They're at an arcade.
They're at an arcade. while the guy is dealing acid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that place becomes hot. We're just going to keep using that because that's a great lingo.
We're co-opting it.
Yeah. It's ours now. So then that place becomes hot. They fucking book it. He's like, I'm fucking high. He's like, I'm feeling weird.
They've got this Sprite bottle of acid on them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're like dropping it on like tabs and sending it and dealing it that way. It's pretty clever actually for what they're doing. And then they book it to an Adventureland. They toss the shit there. Like all the other guys, I think, get booked, but him. He somehow makes it out.
Yeah.
And he's like just wandering the street. Like you can see his pupils are just like, like dilated to hell. And he's like, oh fuck, I just need to go home. He's very much Paul. He's like, I just need to go home, man. So he gets in a cab, and the guy's like,
He's like,
"Where you
don't
going,
throw
man?
up in my fucking cab.
Yeah, don't throw up in my fucking cab."
Yeah.
He's like, okay. He's like, yeah, no problem, bro. He's just like, I just got out of jail. He's like, of course. As soon as I mention jail, this guy fucking flips his lid. He's like, you just got out of jail, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, even that's like, just anxiety inducing. Like, just everyone's at each other's fucking throats all the time. And he doesn't have the fucking money to pay for the fare. He's like, dude, I'll fucking pay you. My mom will pay you as soon as you take me to the thing. And the guy's like, nope, I'm taking you to the fucking station or something. He's like, I'm not going back to fucking jail, bro. So he jumps out of the car.
Jumps out of a moving cab.
Yeah.
That's how he got fucked up.
I love the cut to him. He's like, that's why my face is all fucked up. That's how I ended up in the fucking hospital. So like, even Connie has ruined this guy's life. This guy is having no issue doing that on his own, but Connie's further fucking up this guy's life too.
Yeah,
Everyone
'cause
who's coming into Connie's orbit, he's fucking up their life somehow.
Yeah, because Ray's on parole, and now that he got fucking
Busted out of
busted
hospital.
out, now he's gonna go back to jail.
Imagine explaining that to the cops.
Exactly.
I don't know this fucking guy.
Yeah.
Sure you don't. Yeah.
And but see, even from that story, Connie goes, "Wait a minute, you stashed the cash from
Exactly.
the acid sales."
That's all he heard.
That was his in. He's like, "We're going to Adventureland now."
Yeah. Ray's like, hello, did you hear me? And we just cut to Connie's like Adventureland nearby.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll tell you what, we'll get the Sprite, we'll split it 50-50.
And then so they agreed. Let's go get the there's acid and cash, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And so they go. There's that sequence at the Adventureland. He beats the shit out of that actor that's in
Captain
Phillips.
Yeah.
And then after they get the acid, they head over to like Ray's friend's apartment or something.
No, so it's the security guard's apartment.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But I actually want to call out the end of that whole Adventureland sequence.
Yeah.
Because I think it has something important to say about race that I think people are kind of glossing over again in their like weird interactions with this movie, being like, it's racist, it's pro cop. No, I think it's showing you exactly how that would go down. Like Connie. So what goes down is that they fuck up the security guard. They get one over on him. Connie puts on his uniform.
Yeah.
And then the cops are coming because Adventureland's hot now.
Yeah.
And Ray is like, oh, let me give him a little dose of this. And he like pours the Sprite, the acid infused Sprite, into this guy's mouth.
Yeah.
While he's unconscious after Connie beat the fuck out of him. So then the cops show up. They see the security guard, Connie. They're like, where is he? Where's this guy? Like we got your call basically that something's going wrong. He's like, oh, I think he's over here. And then they just see this, unconscious black man.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we got him.
Yeah. Immigrant.
No questions asked. Yeah. And then he wakes up and he's like, no. He's already starting to trip. Like, oh, there's the drug use. I think I heard one of the paramedics say like, oh, there's the drugs kicking in. They just don't even question. They don't ask for like Connie's ID or any shit like that. They just see security on the beanie. And they're like, yeah, that's the guy, whatever. And then Crystal, who's still here, she gets out of the car because it's like been fucking forever.
Yeah, they just left her there.
They just left her there. And she like walks up to the Adventureland, and of course like a cop like doing like the round, like securing the perimeter or some shit, is like, hey, you, Like, let me talk to you, kind of thing. And we're like, fuck, dude. And he pulls her aside, and we see Connie see her get pulled aside, and he's like, where are you? Like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing out here, kind of thing. And she's like fucking terrified. She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she sees Connie in the security guard outfit, and it's like a wait, what the fuck did I get myself into, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he has no desire to like explain her away or help. He very much could. He's a master manipulator. He could probably explain her away, but he doesn't. He just says nothing and just kind of gives her like a sorry, kid.
Right. So
That's the game.
So she gets carted away. Probably gonna have some kind of record. Her grandma's gonna be notified. They're probably gonna start looking at her grandma like you can't take care of this girl. You know, she's gonna probably go into the system. Fucking security guard is gonna be sent to a psych ward for God knows how long.
Yeah.
You know, and will they even let him out? Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, again, like when I said like the people's lives get the people's like shattered lives left in the wake of like Connie's ambition, the ambition of like the worst fucking criminal not worst as in like the baddest criminal, but worst as in like he's so bad at being a criminal too, you know? Yeah, it's unfair.
It's really unfair. And they steal like a his car. They steal the security guard's car. They go to his apartment. There's a dog there, and that ties back into Connie's line about like, I think I was a dog in another life.
Yeah.
That's why they like me so much. So then he's stuck in a room with Ray for like who knows how long. But like Ray immediately like sees this guy's like liquor cabinet and just starts drinking.
Yeah.
And he's like, Connie's like, I need you to call this guy up and we need to make a deal about the Sprite. And he's like, let me calm the fuck down. Jesus, give me a moment. He's like, I don't give a shit about your fucking moment. He's like, like, do this. Do this right now. And then it like cuts to like maybe like a few hours later. It's like early morning. It's like maybe like 4 or 5 a.m. Like day is just starting to break kind of thing. And they're watching the news. And that segment comes up again about like the Nikas. We get like his grandmother like giving testimony like, yeah, he broke my arm. Like Nick broke my arm during this fight. And it's like heavily implied because like that's what Connie told him to do.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's what Connie pushed him to do. And, you know, Ray, an idiot, but is still like, oh, that's you. He's like, so what's your story? You know, like, you ever done time? Like, what are you in for? And Connie's just like, I don't need to explain myself to you. He's like, fuck you. Like, don't talk to me, kind of thing. I'm waiting for your guy to show up. He's like, Jesus Christ, I was just trying to ask you some fucking questions, bro. And he's like, I don't need to explain myself to you. You're a fucking loser. It's like, you don't serve any function whatsoever. He's like, yeah, he explained, that's his like grandstanding. He's like, I am a doer. You are a leech. You're going to leech off welfare. You're going to leech off your mommy. He's like, but I'm not you. I'm not a fucking loser. He's like, dude, he's like, you will know me from Adam.
Yeah. Projecting much?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's Connie like confessing that he's like, I really don't want to be a loser.
Yeah.
But I fucking am. I'm in the same fucking boat as this guy, you know? And Ray is pretty stupid, so he's kind of like, you don't get what I'm talking about. But at the same time, Connie doesn't understand that he's, you know, telling on himself.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And then his boy shows up, Caliph shows up to try to make a deal. But even Caliph is kind of like, you know, what the fuck's this guy's problem? He's like, you see what I've been dealing with all night? And then he's like, okay. Like, he's like, how does $3,000 sound for the bottle? He could have walked away with $3,000.
Yeah.
He's like, not enough. He's like, what do you want me to go to an ATM and pull out that amount of money? I can't fucking do that, you asshole. He's like, I don't care. Like, get it done. He's like, okay, I'll go to the bank. And then he pulls up to Ray. He's like, I'm going to go get my fucking gun. I'm going to be back. I'm going to kill this motherfucker for this. He's like, sounds good. Thank God. You know, but then of course Connie has his own plans, and he just like basically books it after that point. I think he like sicks the dog on Ray a little bit, or no, he goes to book it, but during their tussle, because he takes the Sprite with him, he's like, no, you leave the fucking Sprite here, my boy's gonna come back. And then the dog attacks Ray. Connie just books it from there. I think he has the bottle though, because then The cops are starting to swarm in, so they probably got tipped off by the security guard. Like, hey, they took my shit.
Yeah.
Here's where I live.
Yeah.
So the cops are coming. They basically meet Connie outside, and we get this perspective of Ray
Ray's
on the
looking
balcony
down,
looking
yeah.
down of Connie getting cornered.
And he gets caught.
Yeah, he gets caught, and we see like the Sprite roll away into the puddle, and that's Ray's focus. He's like, "Oh shit!" And he calls up his guy. He's like, "The Sprite bottle's over here." Blah blah blah. The cops are still coming up though, and Ray like decides to lock the door. He goes into the bedroom. He hops out onto the window, and he's trying to like get the fuck out of there.
This is the mind of the same man who thought he could jump out of a moving cab.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's like, oh, and I forgot to mention that this apartment is like 10, 12 stories
It's
high or
high
some shit.
up there.
Yeah. So he's out on the window, and you know, Connie got. He's getting put in the back of the car. But
Yeah.
before that, they're like, yo, we got a guy in the window. Yeah, we got a guy in the window. And then we just see Ray fucking trip and fall to his death. And part of me is laughing my ass off too, because I'm like, fucking finally.
You hear him just go, "Fucking bro!" It's so fucking funny.
Yeah. But then on another level, right? Like, Connie just killed this guy. This guy was he was already having the worst night of his life. He was having his own after hours, you know?
Yeah.
And then Connie busts him out of hospital just to fucking fall to his death
Yeah.
later that night. That's fucked up, dude. Connie, you piece of shit. And then he has like that moment, a very, I'm trying to like equate it to like another, like a filmmaker who like does like a stare at the camera, kind of like come to terms with oneself moment. But yeah, in the back of the car, Connie's just like the reality of everything that we've just witnessed, like speed the fuck by. The weight of it all is finally sinking in now that he's alone and has no one to manipulate.
Yeah.
And we don't know what he decides with that, other than he's actually thinking about it.
I think he is. I don't think there's any part of him that like is capable of self-reflection. I think he's like, how am I going to get out of this one now? You know?
Right.
And that's the, again, like to talk about just how unfair this movie is. It's like all of this happens because it was set in motion by Connie, and all of these people's lives are just like in big and small ways affected. And what really did he get out of it? Nothing. He's
Fucking
going
nothing.
to jail now.
He's going to jail.
You know?
But then that's not the end of the movie, actually.
Yeah.
There's a nice epilogue. Well, nice.
Yeah.
In contrast to the rest of the movie, right? Is we get back to Nick. We're checking in on Nick. And he looks good. Like last time we saw him, he got the shit kicked out of him, right?
Yeah.
But he looks okay now. And he's with his grandmother. And they're waiting in some kind of lobby. And then the psychiatrist that we saw earlier comes out and he's like, "Hey, Nick, I like the haircut. You're looking sharp. It's good to see you again,"
Yes.
kind of thing. Here, like, come with me, you know? Like, oh, also, I forgot what the grandmother's name, but he's like, "Thank you for bringing him in." She's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy
Yeah.
that he's here."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I'm like, wow, she's fucking, like, kind of normal. Not this evil, you know, like, plotting, scheming person that Connie probably painted her out to be. And the psychiatrist leads Nick into this room with like other people with special needs, and they're like doing this exercise.
And at first he's closed off, but then he starts to join in on the, you know, I forget what the prompt was, but they're talking about
the prompt is like, I'm just gonna say something that you may or may not have done, and if you have done it, walk across the room.
yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
even if you have done it or not, that's your little secret. You don't have to say anything. Like, you could even lie if you want, but like, that's just what we're gonna do. So it's like, I forget what one of the main prompts is, but like, one is like, have you ever been blamed for something you didn't do? He walks across the room. I'm like, fuck, dude. And like the credits start rolling, and I'm like, God damn it, why am I crying?
It is probably the best thing Connie could have done for his brother, for his family,
I'm glad that you mentioned that.
is get fucking caught and sent to jail.
Yeah.
Now he's out of their lives and he can't fucking poison that well anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The psychiatrist actually makes an allusion to Connie and said, this is the best thing that could have happened for him.
Yeah.
Like, your brother did the right thing.
Yes.
That's really the only answer we get to that. And what we can kind of assume from that is that he, like, absolved Nick of any wrongdoing in the heist.
I put him up to it kind of thing.
It was all me.
Yeah.
It's the one good thing he does off camera.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know? So that's good time.
That's good time.
That's good time.
So we've talked about two movies that, you know, on the face of it, like, are, you know, the worst nights of these guys' lives, right? Yeah. And they have two very different tones, but like largely, they're movies about stakes just growing ever higher, you know, over the course of a single night. But like, I think ways that the movies are different is the ways that the circumstances come up in the movies.
Yeah.
And I think After Hours is about a man fighting fate, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Paul finds himself totally out of control of the situation he's in. He's navigating a world that doesn't care about what Paul wants, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the comedy comes from. And then, you know, if you consider Scorsese's Catholic upbringing, you know, you truly get a sense of, you know, there's like a malevolent God pulling the strings, you know, to laugh at this man.
Yeah.
And you know, add to it the fact that when Scorsese talks about this movie, like for the cab driver scene, he talked about Paul not having the money to pay is like the same thing as like not having the money to pay the boat farer when you go to Hades, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think he definitely sets the movie up, whether, you know, directly or indirectly, as like a kind of like it's the fates, you know, having fun with a man, you know.
Yeah.
There's this great excerpt from the essay that comes with the Criterion Blu-ray. It's called No Exit by Sheila O'Malley. And she says, Paul assumes that if he has the right key in his hand, then at least he knows there's a door at the end of the road. The right door. His door. It's understandable that he'd think this, but the urgent questions in After Hours, in Paul's words, what do you want from me? What have I done? Can't be answered by the keys.
No.
And yet Paul clings to them anyway. He doesn't know that he is not in charge of the keys. They're in charge of him. So like this is a movie about fate, about how fate can fuck with you, and about how, like, you know, anything that you do, it doesn't matter. It's preordained. You're stuck in this, you know? And I think Good Time is not about fate per se. It's about it's self-determination, you know?
It's like man versus self.
Yes.
Person
yes.
versus self. Yeah.
Everything that happens to Connie in this movie is because of Connie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He's not pleading like, why me? He's like, how can I improve my situation? Kind of thing. It's like, dude, you fucking can't. You need help too. But because you're so up your own fucking ass, you won't seek help because you think the system is broken. And there are problems with the system. And I think that's like the overall like kind of theme of Good Time is that the system is fucked up. But there are also people who are gumming up the works because they think they can do it better on their own. There's this whole mentality that I can like lift myself up by my own bootstraps.
Yeah.
And make things happen. Like sometimes, I'm sorry, you're a fuck up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're a fuck up, or sometimes you're not, and you just need some help. Like, it's okay to ask for help.
And you've done this to yourself, and you're doing it to the people around you.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that was, you know, as I was thinking about the movies, I was like, okay, wow. Like After Hours, this is man against God. And then Good Time, this is man against self.
Man thinks he's God.
Yeah. I love pairing these two movies together. They're anxiety rides, but good kind of meditations on conflict in films.
For sure. With a New York background,
Exactly.
So that's it for this week. We hope you enjoyed our odyssey of going through these two movies, but we hope you check it out. Check out After Hours, a lesser seen Scorsese. It is weird. It is odd, but it's a good time, which is another one you should check out because it is not a good time. It is clearly a fucking awful kind of time with an awful man. But yeah, those are the movies. We're PhantasmaCast. I'm guy number 1.
I'm guy number 2.
And we'll see you next time.